Welcome, I'm John Stansfield, the Dancing Gardener, and we're on Putiki Point on glorious sunny Waiheke Island. I came to Waiheke in 1992. I wanted to find some gentle way of meeting the neighbours and seeing if we could get some community action going. So I had some seed for a giant American pumpkin. It was growing and it was a very bright orange pumpkin, and people would be walking past and they'd be talking about it. You'd be out in the front yard doing stuff, you hear them going, wow, it's really coming along, that pumpkin, he's got it, it's going to happen. And so in the end we harvested this nice big orange pumpkin, and we did a letterbox drop up and down the street and said, hey, the giant pumpkin has been sacrificed. Come together for Neighbours Day and share some pumpkin pie and a barbecue down on the beach. And we got sort of 45 of the neighbours and we formed the new Putiki Point Neighbourhood Association, which has a single rule: there shall be no meetings, only parties. Food is very central to that kind of exchange. It's just an incredibly important community building tool. The fundamental shift in the Industrial Revolution is when the family unit ceases to be a unit of production and becomes a unit of consumption. And from that point on, it is dependent. And not interdependent, it is dependent, on a financial system and an increasingly financialised food system. So the way to break people free of that is for them to get much more in control of their own food. Welcome to the Dancing Gardener's Roadside Jailbreak. This is land that we all own, and it's locked up in a roadside reserve. Councils like Auckland are facing up to the fact that they can't afford to pay contractors to come and mow this grass. So as a way of demonstrating that there's something better that can be done, we put in this roadside garden. It's fed us all, it's fed people walking up and down the street, we've had stuff for swaps. So one of the great things that we have in our community is the grow table at the market. Anybody who's grown vegetables will tell you that the buggers always all come at once. So there'll be a week when you've got a mountain of silver beet, but you've got no lemons. Or you've got a forest of broccoli, but you've got no beans. And so you take your stuff off to the grow table and you give it to the table, and the table gives you back what you haven't got and might need. It's fantastic because it prevents food waste and it encourages people to get together and chat about who's grown what and what tasted really good and how you might cook it. And it's again that community building with food at the centre. The Dancing Gardener team did a little YouTube clip called Jailbreak That Land. Comrade Len, the mayor, Len Brown that is, he's got a bit of a problem at the moment. He can't afford to cut the grass. The next thing, someone at TVNZ has a look at it and goes, wow, this is so funny, and takes it up to the newsroom. And in the newsroom, every person had a story about someone else trying to do this and council coming along and mowing it down. And so they rang me up and they said, we'd kind of like to do a story, but we think it might make council come and mow it down. And I said, well, sunlight is a really great disinfectant for that kind of infection. And what we should do is we should put it up, we should make it a bouncy, happy, feel-good story and dare them. And it worked. It worked fantastically. We got great publicity, we got primetime news, and there was a deafening silence from the corridors of power. And so if they can't take my one away, they can't take your one away. So get growing.